Steppin Out is made possible in part by Susie and Pierre G. Villery.
It happens here each week. We step out and enjoy our region's events and rich culture.
We are proud to support WYES.
Roll camera.
The American Italian Cultural Center and Museum on South Peters in New Orleans offers event venue space, Italian language classes, dual citizenship and translation services, seminars, genealogy, and trips to Italy. Ciao, AmericanItalianCulturalCenter.com. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area.
I'm Peggy Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, with updates from the local restaurant, arts, and entertainment scenes. Joining me, actress, teacher Leslie Castay, who opens tonight, Thursday, in the show Looped, based on the life of actress Tula Bankhead. Oh my goodness, it's so great to see you.
Great
Hello.
to be here. Thank you.
And nationally and internationally known New Orleans photographer Josephine Sacabo, who has a brand new exhibit that we'll focus on in just a few minutes. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Hi. And Alan Smason, editor of the Crescent City Jewish News and theatercriticism.com. Howdy, Alan.
Glad to be back.
And Miss Poppy returns next week. But first up, and I will be talking a little bit about food later, but first up, let's talk to Leslie. Leslie, congratulations.
Thank you.
You know, I know that Tula Bankhead probably isn't as well known as, as others these days, but I recall her darling,
Yes,
fabulous TV appearances, lots more theater than movies, but set the stage, if you will, and we'll be showing some photos from the new show, and this is at the Westwego, JPAS Westwego.
At Westwego Cultural Center, right across Huey Long, very easy to get to, so it's a nice, beautiful, intimate space.
And why is it called Looped? So let you set all that up.
Looping is a film term where if someone needs to go and re-record a line in a film, you'll go into a recording studio and match your lips to your own image and re-record a line. I've done it very often in film and TV. So Tallulah Bankhead's final film was a B movie called Die, Die, My Darling. And the play Looped is based on a real life story where it took her 8 hours to re-record one line of dialogue for that movie. No one really knows what happened in the recording studio, but playwright Matthew Lombardo comes up with a very likely scenario, and Tallulah shows in late, a little overserved, she drinks, she smokes, she tells stories from her past. It's a very hilarious piece, and it's been a joy to work on it with director Janet Shea. She's just one of my favorite people in the world, so the opportunity to work with her again as a director was just such a great treat.
I'm thrilled that you chose this, and interestingly, we had asked you all for a clip, and the potential audience needs to be aware, okay, that Tallulah liked her occasional bon mot, or whatever we want to say that way.
Tallulah had an unfiltered mouth.
But you do have a few items that you could read to us.
Yes, she's known for being a larger-than-life personality, and her drinking and smoking. She always says in life, she was always terrible at remembering names, which is why she says darling. She says a story once that one time she was at a party and she introduced a best friend as Martini. Her name was actually Olive. And another time when caught, she was taking pills in her from her handbag and swallowing some pills, and when questioned what was in the bottle, she replied breath mints. And she followed up with codeine is leading the fight against halitosis. She's also been known to do cocaine, and when people would ask her about her cocaine use, she says, it's addictive nonsense. I ought to know. I've been doing it for years.
Well, Leslie, I'm sure it's been so much fun, and we have to, of course, talk about the director.
Yes, Janet.
Janet
Shea, First Lady of New Orleans Theater. I mean, the opportunity to work with her is just a blessing. She has still got more energy than anyone I know. You know, she's just been wonderful, and she's given me such beautiful keys into the character and shaping the piece and everything. So
we should point out, and of course, I'm always partial to anything but with Tennessee Williams connections. Tallulah and Tennessee were good buds. Huh?
They were friendly. She had a conflicted relationship to him. The story goes, and it's been documented in many ways, that he offered her the role of Blanche Dubois first, and she turned it down. Yeah, she turned it down.
Big mistake.
Yes, big mistake, and I think it's something she regretted all of her life. She admits that it was the one time in her life that she actually cared what other people thought of her. So it was, I think, the character was too close to her life and whatnot, so she decided to pass on it, and I think it was one of her biggest regrets. And the play deals with that a lot, actually. You'll see Tallulah actually performing some Blanche Dubois in the play at certain points in the show.
And the weird irony here is that my understanding is she was a finalist to be Scarlett O'Hara.
That's right.
That's
right. She had a screen test. I would love to get a hand on that screen test.
Now, we'll be moving on, but very quickly, you wear many hats these days, and you're teaching at NOCA now?
I'm teaching at NOCA. I'm a musical theater instructor at NOCA, and just enjoying it so much. This young, talented new generation is just teaching me as much as I'm teaching them, so they're wonderful. Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And of course, I mean, I love seeing you on stage in musicals. You have such a beautiful voice.
I love to sing.
So hopefully that will happen
the next one will be a musical.
I sure hope so. It's great to have you back.
Thank you very much.
And now through tonight through November 19th.
8 performances, Thursday through Saturday nights, and a Sunday matinee.
Wow. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right. Josephine, I feel like I've known you a very, very long time, and it's so wonderful to have you finally on. You are living in New Orleans, but also in Mexico. But your beautiful photos are so evocative of your love of poetry, aren't they?
Yes.
And this new show, it's hard to select photos from your show. And of course, a gallery for fine photography. Everybody go see the show, but also you can see some of the images online on their website. But let's talk about a few of them, and very much inspired by a poetic nature. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, it's usually, this particular show is a little bit different because these last 3 years have been pretty much heavy duty.
Illness?
I've been ill, and we had the shutdown with the COVID. I had surgeries. I had a stroke. I mean,
oh my gosh!
It was like yikes.
Job, a little bit of Job there, huh?
So it was the only thing, and this was just like miraculous. The only thing I was able all the way through to keep doing, images just started flowing out of me, almost as if I needed some form to deal with everything that was happening.
Now, as we go through this, and this one is called Facets. Now, this is what we call a photogravure. Would you explain that a little bit?
Well, yeah, it's a photo engraving. It's a French word for engraving. And basically, most of the process is the same as it was in the 17th century. So I'm a sort of I work with that. Because when I first started doing photography, every image that I thought was extraordinary was the photo engraving.
Yeah.
Because
so
that was the
19th, 17th, 19th century. I mean, just the whole idea of the 18, going back to the 1800s. This kind of look and the style.
Right. Right.
And but look at this one. Memory scars. Is that lace in front of the young lady? Or
no.
What is that?
Basically, it's kind of like a. It was sort of a background that I saw in a building. Oh. And I take backgrounds just...
And you superimpose
because you never
them?
know. Yeah, I do photo collage always now.
Okay.
I didn't in the other series, but I do now. And this one of the subjects of this particular exhibition is my talking about rage and what a horrible thing rage is and how it wipes out all the humane behavior that human beings have. When they're enraged, they'll do anything. And so it seems to me that there's a lot of rage loose in the world. And
then this is a sign of hope, it seems like.
Yes. She's, Yeah, I decided to make the series is called Gravity and Grace, and part where you go one wall, it's all sort of gravity, the effect that rage and certain things have had on hurt people, and then as you go around, you start to see the possibilities that even so, there's beauty in the world, and you just have to be ready to look at it.
My goodness, so now through January 4th, but let's talk about your background. Okay, you are a young lady from Laredo, Texas.
That's right. Yeah.
And I've actually been to Laredo.
I know, I can't believe it.
You know,
Not many people have.
But what's very intriguing about Laredo is that, yeah, you're in Texas, but you're also in Mexico at the same time.
Completely.
It is just amazing. And I know you have some Mexican roots too. And so, you know, and then you spent a lot of time in France.
Yes.
So, you know, you've had all these exposures to photography, to poetry. Cartier-Bresson, very much of an influence, photographer.
That was my first style of working, which was kind of a photojournalism, was based on, because Cartier-Bresson's assistant happened to be living in the same French village that I was living in.
What?
He had retired, and he was bored and wanted to teach me photography. You know, I was an actress. I had nothing to do with photography. I'd never taken a picture in my life.
Now, what brought you to New Orleans?
My husband.
Now, you're we should say your very talented husband, Dalt Wonk, who is an author but longtime playwright. That name's going to sound very, very familiar. So it was your husband, really?
Yeah, well, because I could have stayed in France forever. I mean, I felt like my mother was French. I felt like a lot of my family was from France, most of my family, really. And so I felt, I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but I just loved being there. And I joined a French theater company, and but Dalt had because he's a writer, he wanted to hear English again. He felt like he was a stranger because of the language, and so he wanted to come back, and I did not, so. But I said, I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. I'll go back with you if we go to New Orleans, because I don't think New Orleans is really like American, exactly. So he said, yeah, it's a good idea. Let's pretend we're journalists and go to New Orleans, which is what we did, and people believed us, and we did the work, and it's been so good to us.
And you've been here how many years?
40 years.
It's really incredible. Yeah. You've contributed so much to the cultural scene. But once again, God bless Joshua Palet.
Oh, yes,
a
indeed.
gallery for fine photography, which is the home of where this exhibit is on Chartist. You walk in there, you think you're in a museum.
It is a museum.
You know,
it's better than any one place.
Well, images.
Yeah.
And he has been selling and collecting the most incredible, facets of American photography. But what a great place for you to have that show.
Well, I've been with Josh for over 30 years, and his thing to me is the gift to me has been what very rare for any artist. He said, anything you come up with goes on the wall. So I always knew that there was a home for what I was creating, and I can't praise him enough.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're so
He's
lucky
the reason
to
that
have him and you, of course, and give Dalt our best as well.
I shall.
And moving on to Mr. Allen.
Well, you know, the writer and composer lyricist Randy Bibb describes One Piece as all the Esther Williams films rolled up and mashed up with 42nd Street. And that's pretty much what it is. Director Jack Lambert is delighted that One Piece is being presented at the same venue he began his theatrical career, the former Nord Theater, since refurbished and renamed the Ty Tracy Theater. Kaylin Turkmany stars as Hester Williams, that's right, Hester, an aging famous swimming star who's a 5-point star in a 2-bit town opposite Rusty Fox as her scheming fiancé, Bobby Biscayne. Now, Adrienne Simmons plays Deanna. She's a lifeguard with considerable swimming and dancing skills. She's hilariously paired with Woogie Max Duval. The pair demonstrate their secret handshake where they jump, twist, gyrate, bend, and grasp in sync with each other ad nauseum. Llewellyn Parsnips, the Hollywood gossip columnist, she's on hand along with the mayor of the city, or the town at least, to welcome the Aquacade performers. And then as Deanna's mother, Mrs. Garland, Leilana Gunn, she's on the left there, steals the show. She suffers from multiple personality disorder, and at this particular time, she's in the incongruous child star mode of a 1930s child star that you know, replete with a polka dot dress, and her big number is, I just want to grow up. The music director is Melissa Marshall. Of course, she's the well-known and highly regarded vocal teacher who worked with superb arranger and accompanist Jefferson Turner as her assistant. And Gay Parsons, who's from Loyola University, he's a student who whipped up all these superb instrumental passages that they have. Bottom line is this music is quite pleasing, evocative of many of the passages that you might know from some of the well-known songs from the Great American Songbook. Accompanying Hester Williams at the Aquacade are the Chlorines. They're all choreographed by Monica Ordonez, and again, it's outstanding work on what is a really small stage. One Piece ends its run this weekend with performances at 7:30 nightly, and go check that out. Meanwhile, I have to tell you, they have a quick shout out for auditions for an upcoming musical. That's beautiful, the Carole King musical I saw on Broadway. They're going to be opening sometime soon, but they're going to have the auditions on Monday night at Le Petit Theater. All roles, every one of the roles is still open, so go check that out if you're interested in appearing in Beautiful. Meanwhile, the New Orleans Opera Association is presenting Blue. That's tomorrow and Sunday afternoon at the Mahalia Jackson Theater. These are photos from the Glimmerglass production of Blue. Now, Janine Tesori, who won 2 Tony Awards for Fun Home in 2015 and last year for Kimberly Akimbo, wrote this opera with Tazewell Thompson. It's received a number of plaudits and high praise. I encourage everyone that can go to go see this very new contemporary opera that has a lot to say about what's going on in the African American community. The Louisiana Philharmonic Orchestra, of course, is backing up the opera, and they'll be providing the music for themselves on Thursday night. That's next Thursday. The Porgy and Bess, a symphonic picture, will be there. It's going to star Kellen Gray, I guess if you say star, as the guest conductor, but it'll also feature Chabrel Williams as the featured soprano in this. So Porgy and Bess is going to be on November the 16th, and then 2 days later at the Mahalia Jackson Theater for the Performing Arts, they're going to move over and have the dinosaurs come their way, because Jurassic Park, the Steven Spielberg classic film, will play with the LPO accompanying it to a symphonic soundtrack. That's the John Williams soundtrack, of course, that you all know and love, and that should be fantastic. Now, for those of you who happen to miss the show Assassins at Rivertown, I urge you to go to my YouTube channel and check out the show I did last Monday with Vatican Loki, David Hoover, and Michael John Smith. It was a wonderful get-together. We talked about Assassins and had a great time, and if those of you who missed it will maybe get a chance to get a little bit more insight about that show, which, of course, deals with assassins of presidents, but also is very funny in its own way and very, very revealing. Now, it is that time again, Peggy. You know what time it is, right? The Boy Scouts are coming. That's the 10 Commandments hike. We're going to have this interfaith hike. This is going to be since 2004 I've done this. And, of course, you can see there, Girl Scouts, non-scouting parents, kids, everybody's welcome to come. Cub Scouts, boys and girls. It's going to be, again, on November the 24th. It's a Friday. It's going to start at the Jewish Community Center, and we're going to have a very interesting start to the hike this year. We're going to have Jewish representation as well as a Muslim representative to start things up because of everything that's going on in the world. And finally, do not forget the New Orleans Museum of Art's Fashion Gala is tomorrow night. You can go to noma.org to get more information on that one.
All right, Alan, thank you so much. And before we move on to picks, since Poppy is off tonight, I wanted to include a few restaurant news bites. In honor of National Cocktail Week, the Eliza Jane Hotel on Magazine Street is featuring a signature cocktail called the Maiden Voyage. What's in it? Rum, Barbancourt, Cardamaro, lemon juice, maple syrup, and Jerry Thomas bitters. Oh my. The hotel is the former site of earlier Picayune newspaper audience on Office, and the drink is $10 and served in their press room lobby lounge. Now through November 12th. The New Orleans chapter of the women's culinary group, Les Dames d'Escoffier, are presenting a fundraising event to honor women in the local hospitality industry. This multi-course dinner features dishes by such notable chefs as Nina Compton, Sophia Wong, Megan Foreman, and Dee Levine. That's Tuesday, November 20th at the Paradigm Gardens at 1131 South Rampart Street. For details, lesdamnola.org/events-calendar. Plus, we have some WYES items of note. The station is holding a Second Harvesters food drive next Monday through Friday. Drop off non-perishables at our studios, 916 Navarre Avenue in Lakeview. And they swung their picks. The Irish and the New Basin Canal, produced by Terry Landry, premieres next Wednesday. The program tells the story of a 6-mile shipping channel built in the 1830s that ran from where the Loyola Avenue Union Passenger Terminal train station is today to Lake Pontchartrain. One chapter sheds new light on Irish canal workers recruited from Pennsylvania to dig the waterway that became a legacy to the city and its Irish community. Here's an excerpt featuring historians Richard Campanella, Terrence Fitzmaurice, and Laura Kelly.
One of corporate America's favorite go-to resources in the 1830s for labor was Irish immigrant so-called ditchers. And we have a lot of examples of this locally. The New Basin Canal was probably the best example here. They were oftentimes paid around $1 a day.
They were skilled individuals in this job that looked like it was unskilled. But think about how you go about excavating a canal that is 6 to 10 feet deep and 60 yards wide and 6 miles long. You don't do it with unskilled, unexperienced labor.
It is hard labor, absolutely, but it does take skill and engineering to do it. And the canal building era really starts in the 1820s, at the same time that we're getting a big wave of Irish immigrants who have been coming to North America, who are spending years working in these projects, because these are the highways of the 19th century.
Once again, the program premieres next Wednesday at 9 p.m., also streaming and on WYES and PBS apps, so WYES.org, the streaming. And we've also got a late edition, the Peter Jackson film segment concerning a more listenable and never-released version of the Beatles song Now and Then will actually be shown Thursday on WYES at 7:30 p.m. The little over 12-minute feature will be followed by a segment from the award-winning Steppin Out special, When the Beatles Invaded New Orleans, featuring memories from Deacon John, Bob Walker, and Marcia Cavanaugh of the Beatles concert right here in New Orleans in 1964. Now our picks. Leslie.
Hi.
Hello.
On Friday night, JAPE has the large theater on Airline Highway, the Jefferson Performing Arts Center, will be hosting the American Ballet Theater Studio Company. And they're the next generation of future ballet stars coming from ABT. And they're going to present a great evening on Friday night. And they're also going to do a lecture demonstration that morning. So if you're a ballet student, a dancer interested to see them work up close, come to the morning one as well.
Yeah. All right. Josephine, your wonderful website. What's the address?
Josephine Sacabo. .com.
Okay, we can go there. No, it's really fascinating. And,
we have most of what I've done is on there. If not the whole entire thing, most of it is. And books, we're totally. I don't know if you're aware of Luna Press, which is a publishing thing that Dalton and I started, and it's just been wonderful. And so we're doing more these days, more books than just exhibitions, but the books, and so we'll be having, I don't have the dates yet.
Okay, well, let me know. You can come back.
Yeah, we'll be back. Okay, if you'll have us, we'll be happy
you
to
bet.
be here.
Okay, Alan.
Okay, first off, couple quick things. I want to mention Leslie was just the director of Young Frankenstein. We didn't get to mention that, but she should get a shout out for that. And that Beatles AI thing helped out, but that's probably the best thing that AI ever did. So if you listen to that thing on WYES, definitely listen to it and know that AI made a terrible tape sound good. The final shows, by the way, of Michael Jackson's Orleans musical MJ are playing this weekend. If you love Michael Jackson's music, and I don't know anybody who really doesn't, get yourself to see this really incredible Tony Award-winning production with full-out dance moves, great singing. It'll keep you in a very good mood. And also, you'll be able to take a part in that Lynn Nottage book that tells the story of Michael Jackson in 1992, just as he's about to go on tour for the final Dangerous tour.
All right, my thanks.
I'll see you at the theater.
And my picks, cuisine, history, and heritage, will be among the topics of this weekend's Louisiana Creole Research Association's annual conference, held online and at the WYES studios and Vaucresson Sausage Company. To register, go to lacreole.org/events. On Saturday, the New Orleans Public Library is staging a really big book sale on the porch of St. Charles Avenue's Ladder Library from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And an arts market will be held on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the Great Lawn at City Park. artsnola.org for details. And thanks to Larry Holmes for this rare photo of the locals' 80s band, the Red Rockers. The group is having a reunion concert this Saturday at Tipitina's. Go to tipitinas.com for more information. Katie Rogers, trumpeter Katie Rogers and her 17-piece swing orchestra will perform at a free concert at the New Orleans Jazz Museum at the Mint on Wednesday at 2 p.m. I have seen her play, and they are just really good. They do a fine job. Thank you all so very much, and thank you so very much for watching. Good night.
Thank you.
Programming on WYES is made possible in part by Susie and Pierre G. Villery.
Public television is our passion. With so much content that WYES broadcasts and presents online, we are quite entertained and highly informed.
Please join us in supporting WYES.
The American Italian Cultural Center and Museum on South Peters in New Orleans offers event venue space, Italian language classes, dual citizenship and translation services, seminars, genealogy, and trips to Italy. Ciao, AmericanItalianCulturalCenter.com. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area.